there's no way that you're going to make a video that everybody's going to like. And if you are attempting to do that, you are going to fail, right? Because what you're trying to do is hit your audience. Not everybody's going to like you. There are going to be people who do. So make videos that you would want to see, not videos you think people would want to see, but videos that you yourself would actually want to see, because that's the people who are relating to you, and that's the information they want to hear. They don't want to hear something about what you like. They don't want to hear you making up something that they think they want to hear. They want to hear what you have to say, whether they agree with it or not. Like, they want the authenticity of it. And that's really where it comes in if you're doing videos that you want to see as opposed to videos that somebody else wants to see.
What's an example of this in your niche of economics? Like, what would be trending and popular, but you wouldn't do it? But what you did do, it resonated because you were passionate about it.
So, and I'll talk a little bit about this when I go up on stage, but ultimately, when I started doing the research to the Federal Reserve and what was happening with inflation, what was happening with the money printing and stuff, I started diving really deep. And my biggest question that I had when this was taking place is like, how come quantitative easing 1, 2, 3, and 4 failed to produce the inflation scenario that the Fed was looking for at the time? So for 10 years, they failed to produce inflation, even though they had quadrupled their balance sheet. So everybody wants to say that money printing goes burr and prices go up, but yet that didn't happen 10 years ago. Why? Right. And so this is one of the reasons why I ended up diving really deep into a lot of this stuff, is that I find that like a lot of people don't really follow what it is that the information is trying to say, but they're following what other people are saying about the information. And so for me, I kind of lost track of the question of it, but
yeah, it's something you want to, like, you would cover a trending topic, but that's not you. But what you do talk about is what it really is you.
Right. So yeah. So for example, with this inflation, like I could have easily made a video that would get 100,000 views by talking about how inflation was going to crash the economy with hyperinflation and put all this fear mongering tactics together. And because I know how to do it. Like, I mean, I know the words, the trigger words, I know what it would take in order to get that. And it would be very profitable to me to do that. Like, I could make a lot of money on YouTube, but that's not the authenticity that I'm trying to bring to the channel that's going to be lasting, right? So you put out information like that, that's inaccurate. Or at least to me, it was inaccurate. Because
you know that that's the narrative, and you could jump on the narrative, and you could jump on people's fear.
That's right.
You could make short-term money, but also that'd be short-term thinking.
All right. And now here the circumstances have changed. Now you got to change your tune to why it is that it didn't come out the way it wanted it, right? Or the way that you suggested. You put out to all these people that there's going to be hyperinflation, you're going to lose and crash and die, and then it doesn't take place. Now you got to come up with reasons why it didn't happen, right? If you stay consistent from the very beginning, then you don't have to change your tune about anything.
Well, and it would seem, I mean, your authenticity is everything to you, meaning you're very style. And I think the reason you've resonated with people is because you're real, raw, honest yourself, doing the research. And so, man, I mean, in any industry or even life, making short-sighted decisions is always unwise. Yes. But it's so tempting in YouTube. So that's a really deep tip to think about staying in your lane, staying authentic to you, not just chasing trends. I'm sure you leverage trends because you talk about trending things, but not doing it in such a way that you lose your authenticity or your core beliefs and values.
Right. Like, the channel got popular because of lumber. Right? I'm in the lumber industry. I sell lumber. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I know lumber mills, truck drivers, loggers. There's no corner of the lumber market that I don't know. Right. And so for me, it was really easy to talk about lumber. And when lumber starts getting a lot of attention, it's running up to $1,700 per thousand. And people are going, what in the world is going on here? How come lumber prices are so expensive? They came to my channel looking for that information. So for me, it was really easy within the lumber industry because I was one of the few people who had that much information about it and talking about it a year before it actually took place. Staying consistent in that, right? So many people wanted to, like, what are the reasons? Why is this happening? Who's the greedy one? All this other stuff. And all this narrative came out there. And I'm like, none of this is accurate. Like, nobody has this right. And even on the mainstream media, when I'm listening to these so-called experts talk about it, I'm like, are they just literally making this stuff up? And that's the way I felt about it. And then I realized most of mainstream media is that way. Like, even as I started researching into the Federal Reserve, right now, I'm finding things coming out of the Federal Reserve in their own statements of their monetary policy that seems to be completely different from what 99% of the people out there are saying. And again, it's just like, it feels to me very much like that lumber industry. And pundits out there talking about something they really don't know anything about. And this is blowing me away right now. Like, this is like, how did I even get to a channel or a level on this channel that I could be this way? Like, that everybody's got it wrong and I'm the only one who's got it right.
Well, you're
like,
the rise.
That is really hard for me to like actually feel confident in saying that, but it's the way it is.
You're the rise of renegade independent journalism that YouTube is giving us the opportunity for right now.
Absolutely.
Mainstream media is in trouble because the facade will only last for so long. Mm-hmm. And justice warriors, truth tellers, people that just want the actual facts and truth and don't want to just be a talking head saying whatever their corporate sponsor is paying them to say or whatever it is. If you're just doing it in your car and your phone, this is what people are hungering for. They want that real, that authentic, that vulnerability.
Yeah. This is what, like, anybody who's watching this, like, you got to understand, like, once you have an audience, you know what it is that you could do to make more money off of that. Mm. Like, you could trigger them. You could put the fear, you could put all that other stuff out there. I'm not going to do that to my fans. I'm not going to do it to my viewers. It's not what I built this channel for. It was so that I could learn and understand what's going on with the economy. And I want that to be reflected inside of the videos and everybody else being able to take what from this video and benefit their life with it. That's what I'm trying to do. Like, the money will come. Like, I'm not worried about it. It's just like,
when we're here at Michael Zuber's event, One Round all the time, Michael Zuber talks about the Crash Bros all the time. Mm-hmm. And he talks about, I think he even calls out people by name, not trying to get into it, but he talks about Reventure Consulting. Shout out. But he's always just, it's just crash. It's just constant drama, fear, because that works. It gets clicks. But this is such a deep point in this podcast to be thinking about. And that's why I love Michael and the community as around them, is people like yourself who are being just thoughtful about that and are not trying to just chase short-term money or sell out their audience or manipulate your audience. And again, I think it's a fine line, meaning a video still might be perceived as clickbait, but if it's if you back up that statement and what's happening, and if you say the word crash and you back up that it is a crash, then it could all be done ethically. If you enjoyed this podcast and are ready for some deep dive YouTube strategy, just go to thinkmasterclass.com to get access to my 1 hour on-demand YouTube strategy class. You'll be looking over my shoulder as I share my best tips, and you can watch it on demand right now at thinkmasterclass.com.